Hello growers, I'm going to summarize all the chapters of Atomic Habits by James Clear in this book. It's going to be a long one, but I encourage you to watch it all. Let's begin. We kick off the book with the fundamental concept. Small, aka atomic habits compound over time. Think of your life as an aeroplane. Aeroplane? Get it? Okay, so think of your life as an airplane, changing its course by just a few degrees. It seems minor, but it leads to a vastly different destination than if you hadn't changed course by a few degrees. The same applies to our daily choices. Tiny improvements or declines add up to significant changes over months and years. This is called the power of the 1% rule. If you get 1% better each day, you'll be 37 times better by the end of the year. Clear contrasts goals versus systems, arguing that it's not the goal that determines success, but the system you follow. Winners and losers often have the same goals, but it's the systems that create different outcomes. He also introduces a core principle. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Clear lays the foundation for identity-based habits in this chapter. He says that the most effective way to change your habits is to focus on who you wish to become, not what you want to achieve. In other words, shift from outcome-based habits, such as I want to gain muscles, to identity-based habits, such as I'm someone who values health and works out. In short, instead of asking what do I want to achieve, ask who do I want to become. There are 3 layers of behavior change. Outcomes, what you get, processes, what you do, and identity, what you believe. Identity sits at the core. When your habits are aligned with the person you believe yourself to be, change becomes natural. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to be. When you repeatedly act in line with an identity, you reinforce that identity. This is where Clear introduces the backbone of the entire book, the 4 laws of behavior change, a framework rooted in science and psychology that makes habit formation predictable. The cue is a trigger that initiates the behavior. The craving is a desire or motivation behind the habit. The response is the actual behavior performed, and the reward is the benefits you gain, reinforcing the habit. These steps form a feedback loop that governs every habit. The cue leads to a craving, which drives a response, which delivers a reward, and that reward feeds back into the loop, making the habit more likely to repeat. He then maps these into a framework for habit creation. To create a good habit, follow these 4 laws. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it unsatisfying. To break a bad habit, do the opposite. Make it invisible, make it unattractive, make it difficult, and make it unsatisfying. These are known as the 4 laws of behavior change. Each law corresponds to a stage in the habit loop and gives us tools to create or break habits. This chapter talks about how our brains are constantly scanning our environments, picking up cues even if we're not consciously aware of them. Clear says that one of the most surprising facts about habits is that we don't need to be aware of the cue for a habit to begin. We can subconsciously react to a cue, which can be both good and bad. For this reason, Clear suggests we must begin the process of behavior change with awareness, as many of our failures are largely attributable to a lack of self-awareness. He introduces a method called the habit scorecard, where we write down daily habits and label them as positive, neutral, or negative. The initial goal of the scorecard is to notice what's going on, without judging or criticizing yourself. Here we learn about the power of implementation intentions, which is a plan we can make about when and where to act. The way to apply implementation intentions is to fill out the following sentence. I will, behavior, at, time, in, location. It's often not enough to just say, I'll do this or that. It's really important to have a time and place. Clear also introduces habit stacking, linking a new habit to an existing one. After I brush my teeth, I will meditate for 1 minute. The existing habit here is brushing your teeth, whereas a new habit is meditating for 1 minute. These strategies increase the likelihood of following through. Clear argues that environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior. Instead of relying on willpower, restructure your environment to make good habits easier. He says that the environment shapes behavior more than motivation. If you want to eat healthy, keep fruit visible. If you want to read more, leave a book on your pillow. He highlights how small changes to our environment can lead to significant behavior changes. Self-control isn't just about willpower, it's mainly about avoiding temptation in the first place. Remove the cue and you remove the habit. This is the inversion of the first law of behavior change. Make it invisible. Clear explains that the people with the most self-control are often the ones who need it least, because they've designed their lives to minimize temptation. This chapter dives into cravings, the emotional component of habit loop. Clear introduces temptation bundling. Pair something you already find easy to do, such as watching Netflix, with something you want to start doing but may find difficult, such as running on the treadmill. He also explains how dopamine spikes in anticipation, not reward. That's why making habits attractive beforehand is so powerful. I found this so insightful because it really hit home for me. When I used to smoke, I would get excited at the idea of smoking, but didn't enjoy it while I was doing it. Clear explains that we are influenced by 3 social groups: the close, family and friends; the many, society or the tribe; and the powerful, people we admire or people with status. To build better habits, surround yourself with people, either in person or on online communities, who already live the way you want to. Psychologically, if a behavior can get us approval, respect, and/or praise, we find it more attractive. In this chapter, Clear suggests that the cause of our habits is rooted in our desire to want to feel different. He encourages us to reframe our mindset around habits to make them more attractive by associating them with a positive experience. Instead of saying, "I have to," say, "I get to." Like, instead of saying, "I have to wake up early tomorrow," say, "I get to wake up early tomorrow." So that's the first 10 chapters out of the way. Let me know in the comments what's resonated the most with you in these chapters so far. Also, if you're enjoying this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing, as it really helps the channel out. Thank you, and let's get back to it. Clear explains the importance of continuous improvement over perfection. He introduces the concept of never miss twice, emphasizing that consistency doesn't mean failing, but rather always bouncing back. The goal is to maintain forward momentum. He uses the metaphor of walking slowly but never backward to highlight that tiny setbacks are part of the process. Progress isn't about being perfect every day, but about always course correcting. Missing one workout or a day of writing isn't catastrophic. It's the repeated lapses that break habits. He reminds us that habits are like compound interest. The more consistently you invest, the greater the payoff over time. He also stresses the difference between being in motion, planning and researching, and taking action, actually doing the thing. Many people spend too much time preparing and too little time executing. Clear dives into how human behavior is influenced by the path of least resistance. We naturally gravitate toward the easiest option, so successful habit formation hinges on reducing friction for good habits and increasing it for bad ones. He uses examples like placing a guitar in the middle of the room to make practice more convenient, or removing junk food from the house to make unhealthy snacking more difficult. These small adjustments alter the environment to work in your favor. He also emphasizes the value of automation, whether it's using automatic savings, meal prepping, or preset workout routines. Making decisions in advance reduces cognitive load and reinforces habit loops with minimal effort. This chapter introduces one of Clear's most popular strategies, the 2-minute rule. The idea is to make any new habit so easy that it feels almost effortless. If a habit takes less than 2 minutes to begin, you're more likely to follow through. Instead of read every night, start with read 1 page. Instead of go for a run, start with put on running shoes. The goal isn't to stop there, but to make starting so frictionless that you eliminate the psychological barrier to action. Clear also stresses that you can't improve a habit that doesn't exist. By focusing on simply showing up and initiating the behavior, you build momentum and consistency, which naturally lead to longer sessions and deeper involvement. He also tells us about decisive moments, which set the options available to your future self. For example, putting on my gym clothes is a decisive moment, as after that I'll go to the gym and work out. Alternatively, if I don't put on my gym clothes and sit down on the sofa, I'll spend a few hours watching TV and snacking. Little decisive moments stack up, each one setting the trajectory for how you spend the next chunk of time. Clear explores the concept of a commitment device, a choice you make in the present to lock in better behaviors in the future. For example, removing batteries from your remote to make watching TV harder, or scheduling a gym session with a friend. He shares how the environment and social contracts can lock in good habits and shut out bad ones. This approach makes future deviation more difficult, creating a structure that supports your desired identity. Technology also plays a role. You can use tools to schedule habits, limit distractions, or reinforce systems like auto-savings. This chapter focuses on how behaviors must be immediately satisfying to be repeated. Immediate rewards reinforce habit loops, while the ultimate benefits of habits are delayed, such as better health or wealth. Successful habits often offer some immediate form of satisfaction. The cardinal rule of behavior change is what is immediately rewarded is repeated. What is immediately punished is avoided. The first three laws increase the odds that a behavior will be performed this time. The fourth law increases the odds that a behavior will be repeated next time. Clear recommends strategies like habit tracking or immediate visual cues that provide small wins. For example, marking an X on a calendar after each workout offers instant gratification. Pairing habits with something enjoyable is another effective tactic, such as listening to music while cleaning. He also introduces reinforcement as a way to increase habit longevity. The more rewarding a habit feels in the moment, the more likely it is to stick. Clear explains the power of tracking and accountability. Keeping a record of your habit strengthens motivation, provides feedback, and offers proof of your progress. It becomes a visual signal of commitment. He introduces the idea of the streak and how maintaining it becomes a motivator. However, he also cautions against letting the streak become the goal itself. When a streak breaks, focus on getting back on track immediately. He also highlights how accountability partners or public declarations can increase follow-through. People are more likely to stick with habits when they feel watched or supported. Building on the last chapter, Clear expands the concept of accountability. He explains how social environments influence behavior and how making your goals public or shared with a trusted partner can drastically improve consistency. Accountability doesn't have to be formal. Simply knowing someone else is watching or cares about your progress can make a big difference. Now for the age-old question, do genes play a role in our success? Unfortunately, yes. But, and this is a big but, pause, we can still improve at anything. Given the role of genes, however, Clear encourages readers to find habits that match their personality, strengths, and interests rather than trying to conform to someone else's routine. Success comes more easily when your habits align with your nature. He introduces the concept of playing your own game and provides tools for identifying what types of habits are more likely to suit you based on your tendencies. He also emphasizes that talent sets the starting line, not the finish line. Consistent effort, deliberate practice, and system design will ultimately determine your success. This chapter introduces the Goldilocks rule. Humans experience peak motivation when working on tasks that are just on the edge of their current abilities, not too easy or not too hard. Clear shows that habits can become boring once they're established, so it's essential to find ways to keep them engaging. Introducing small challenges, competing with yourself, or tracking improvement can maintain interest. He reminds us that professionals stick to their routines even when it becomes boring. While amateurs give up when motivation fades, pros build systems that don't rely on constant inspiration. In the final chapter of Atomic Habits, James Clear wraps up the book by pointing an often overlooked aspect of habits: their potential downsides. While good habits provide structure, discipline, and consistent results, they can also lead to complacency, stagnation, and a plateau in growth if we're not careful. The message here is not to fear habits, but to be aware of their limitations and to remain adaptive and growth oriented. Once a habit is formed, it becomes automatic. This is what makes habits powerful. You no longer need to exert conscious effort to perform a behavior, but therein lies a risk. When actions become automatic, we can stop paying attention to them. Another powerful message in this chapter is the idea that the greatest threat to success is not failure, but boredom. Boredom and stagnation can creep in once a habit no longer challenges us. In such cases, continuing the same pattern without reflection can lead to diminishing returns. This is why it's important to remain engaged and continue to push boundaries. To counteract this plateau effect, Clear introduces the concept of deliberate practice. While habits automate behavior, deliberate practice demands awareness, feedback, and constant refinement. This requires effort and mindfulness. It means breaking free from the autopilot mode that habits can induce. Essentially, while habits build consistency, deliberate practice maintains excellence. Clear encourages us to build in periodic reflection into our routines, such as monthly reviews, weekly evaluations, or journaling progress. Without reflection, we might confuse motion with progress. Habits can trick us into thinking we're doing well simply because we're being consistent, but consistency isn't necessarily the same as improvement. The final takeaway from this chapter is the idea of reinvention. Habits are valuable tools, but they should serve you, not define you. If a habit no longer aligns with your goals, or if it becomes stale, it might be time to evolve it. Don't be like Ash, who doesn't evolve his Pokemon, okay? The pursuit of growth means occasionally abandoning what is comfortable in favor of what is challenging. Don't be afraid to mix things up. Try new techniques, change environments, or adopt new identities if needed. Growth lives outside the comfort zone. Okay, so you've just learned 20 chapters of life-changing insights, but knowledge is only potential power. Action is what transforms you. Let's simplify this into a practical step-by-step action plan to make the most of everything we've learned. Pick just one habit to start. Maybe it's reading daily, or journaling, or drinking more water. Start small, because small wins build big momentum. Design the habit using the 4 laws of behavior change. Make it obvious, that's a cue. Make it attractive, that's a craving. Make it easy, that's a response. And make it satisfying, that's a reward. Track your progress, whether it's a habit tracker, journal, or a simple wall calendar. Seeing your streak really builds motivation. Focus on identity, not outcomes. Don't say, I want to write a book. Say, I'm becoming a writer. I love this next one. Every small action is a vote for the kind of person you want to become. Don't aim to be perfect. You will mess up. But the key is to never miss twice whenever you can. Life can get in the way, obviously, but try to stay on track as much as you can. Master the art of showing up. You don't need to crush it every day, just show up. Even 2 minutes counts. Momentum is everything. Design your environment to support your goals. Don't rely on motivation, rely on design. Make good habits easier to do and bad habits harder. Reflect regularly, once a month or once every 3 months. Ask what's working, what's not, what do I want to try next? Self-awareness turns habits from autopilot into transformation tools. And your identity is being shaped every day, whether you notice it or not. Every action casts a vote, so make sure it's someone you're proud of. And that's a wrap on the wrap of Atomic Habits. Next, I'm going to make a video on my honest impressions of this book and what really resonated with me, so make sure you tune into that one. Until then, if you found this video helpful, please do give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content on leveling up your mind and life. Also, don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss a video. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep growing.